I'm such a hard worker. Being authentic really matters to me. I don't want to blow my own trumpet. I don't want to be like Max. He's doing well, but he's so forceful and angry all the time, and he's always taking credit for what other people have done. And he just always sucks up to people. Networking's okay, but it's a bit soulless and inauthentic. That was me for 20 whole years at work. And in the last 8 weeks, I've realised that, I've done well, but it was all just there right in front of me. If I just used the knowledge and learned from people, then opened my mind that just because I didn't like what someone was doing or how they were or operated, didn't mean there was a whole load I couldn't learn from them. So, 8 weeks later, what's happened? Thinking about this a lot, I think there are 4 things that I'd like to highlight. Number 1, ask for it. Number 2, get out of my own way. Number 3, network. Number 4, start sweating the non-verbal stuff. So, number 1, ask for it. We aren't operating in a just world. Getting out there, slogging my guts out, doing loads of work, saying yes, being helpful isn't really the way to get promoted. What you have to do is realise that it's not me that gets me promoted. It's the people that decide whether I should be promoted that get me promoted. So, first step of that is asking for it. Ask for the promotion. And then also ask the people around that are going to influence that decision and explain, this is what I want to achieve. Please, can you help me achieve that? So, ask for it. Number 2, get out of my own way. I've always been a big fan of authenticity. I talk about it all the time, about I'd never want to be the kind of person that looks like they take credit. I want to be the kind of person that just naturally builds authentic relationships. I don't want to be a networker. I don't want to brown nose. I don't want to flatter people. And I don't want to be overly ambitious. That's not an attractive trait. I've now opened my mind and realised that there's scope to learn from everyone doing those things. You can do them in an authentic way that is true to you. You have to go to an extreme. But that is a really fantastic way to building power and to getting out of your own way in being successful. And one other little sub-note to that is, if it feels easy, then I'm probably not doing it right. I've got 20 years of muscle memory getting right in my way, not doing these things. So it all feels difficult, awkward, a bit unnatural. But I have noticed that even in this short time, that's changed. Get out of my own way. Number 3, network. Be deliberate about who I network with and my activities. Don't just do it randomly, because you could invest a whole load of time and not really get much out of it. Be a bit bold. Reach out to people that you wouldn't normally. I've done that. And I've had an 100% positive response rate, reaching out to VPs and people that have done really well that I know from my LinkedIn network. They're all like, yeah, sure, let's have a chat. Who knows where that might lead to? I've had 3 of those conversations already. Find the common ground, make it personal, make it something that's genuine and real, but actually that you can relate to. And then look for the low-cost win-win on both sides. How can I help you with it not really costing me that much? Brokerage is a great example of that. And then the flip side of that, how can they help me in a way that doesn't cost them much but is really valuable to me? And then lastly, of course, weak ties. Think about who they are. Think about how to leverage. Think about how to build them and maintain them in a low effort but high value way. So network. And number 4, sweat the non-verbal stuff. I have been a big planner, writing my scripts, learning my scripts. I never once thought about how to start and how to come across and how to make sure that I'm having the impact I want to. I dress too casually. I look worried all the time. That was a key learning from the video. I need to use my body language much more carefully and deliberately. I'm probably waving my hands around too much now because I'm trying to speak naturally. When I'm a bit pissed off, show it. That's a power move, and one that I've always been really careful and deliberate in not doing, but controlled anger is a fantastic way of having a greater impact and power. And lastly, a very challenging one for me, talk less. Let people have their say and then come in with my view at the end. I have a fairly senior role. I know my opinions are respected, so I don't need to be in the debate and talking all the time. And I've really noticed that practicing that has had a big impact on how I come across and the words and the impact I have of what I say in meetings. So sweat the non-verbal stuff. So those 4 things: ask for it, get out of my own way, network, and sweat the non-verbal stuff. I've been applying them almost in the beginning of the course. Some of them we learnt along the way. What's happened? So my power project was to get a level 7 promotion in Google. It's a big step up. There are various reasons why it's challenging in the org I'm in, and you typically have to run a 6 to 12 month campaign in Google to get your promo, which I have not been doing because I didn't think I deserved it. So ask for it, number 1. I asked for it, I got a no. I asked for it again, so on, so on. I asked 4 times, but I also started getting out of my own way at each time I asked. I maybe gave some positive feedback. I maybe started being more deliberate about the credit I took. I was way more strategic, and kudos to my coach who's helped me with this, about where I put my time. I delegated so much more. In fact, all my team have noticed how much I've been doing that. But that enabled me to focus on the things that were really going to have an impact and help me level up and build the case. But probably the most important thing is I believed that I was worth it. I reframed my view of my own work and worth, and I also then was able to reframe that upwards to my manager and my coach and some of the senior network that I built, point 3 built in there. So that enabled me to position a lot of the work I've been doing as leadership as opposed to leading bits of work, which is exactly what I needed to do to get that promotion. So here we are, a couple of weeks back, doesn't look like I'm going to get the level 7, and then my boss, I just had that last conversation, I think I can do this, let's give it a go. And he said yes. So I am in the promotion round for Google, which starts next week. Networking, I put a lot of deliberate effort into networking. I've managed through that to identify a new role that I would be able to do if I get my level 7, which is super exciting, very cool, and a big challenge. So that's a direct consequence of me making some of those bold, deliberate calls to go and contact someone in the organisation. Speaking less, I've noticed that, I mentioned this already, that's had a big impact. I use less slides to come across as more confident and powerful. I've started showing anger. I bounce and rock less, which I used to do when I was on calls, which just eliminated any kind of authority that I had. And I speak less. So what next? There are 2 things that I've still got to really tackle. I've got to continue to get a lot better at focusing in on the really important stuff and saying no to the other stuff. And I've got to really focus on my brand, and that's going to require quite a bit of thinking about what I want that brand to be rather than just coming up with something chaotic. Awesome 8 weeks, genuinely life-changing. I probably would have been 2-3 years away from promo, and it would have been when everyone was telling me to get it, which is what's always happened in the past. So now I'm on the cusp of an awesome promotion with an awesome role lined up and an actual belief that I'm worth it and excited about what I can achieve in the future. Thank you to Michael, to the professor, to everybody on the course and my peer coaching groups. It's been awesome. Cheers.